From the beginning, the unrelenting force of nature has shaped our world. An endless work in progress, constantly renewing, adapting, adding and subtracting. Nature's continuous process of revising our planet's guest list. The final word on who stays and who goes. But what if man attempted to regulate nature, to rewrite our planet's story? Imagine eradicating and then repopulating entire water systems in the name of native fish restoration. 70 years ago, U.S. Fisheries Management embarked on a program to eliminate certain undesirable fish from selected lakes and streams all across North America.
We are restoring native species. That involves removing the non-natives that we decades ago put here. You know, the guys that were in my job years ago put them here. And now some of us are coming along and removing some of them to put back what was here prior to those intentional introductions.
A program that poisons entire fish populations, only to return later to repopulate the same water with sport fish considered desirable. There are some who believe this is a noble cause, a fine idea. But at what cost? Rotenone is a poison and a pesticide. It attacks the nervous system. Fish absorb it through their gills, then slowly die. It's a favorite of fisheries management because it's fast-acting, and its environmental impact is considered acceptable. Rotenone is extremely toxic. Even small quantities are unsafe. Unsafe to breathe or even touch. In laboratory studies, rotenone has recently been linked to Parkinson's disease.
In order to test whether a chemical is still present in a stream at a lethal concentration, we typically use fish to do that. And the way to do that is to, once a body of water has been treated, is to put several fish in a cage or a bag and put them in that water and see if they live. And if they live, for the rule of thumb is for 4 hours or longer, then that chemical has dissipated or degraded enough that you can go ahead and restock that body of water with whatever fish species you're concerned about.
The opportunity to go fishing is an American heritage which we must safeguard, for certainly no more natural or wholesome recreation can be found.
In a lake, if it's treated in the fall and then ice is over and the water stays cold, rotenone may persist at a lethal level for aquatic organisms for months.
But rotenone kills more than fish, amphibians, insects. All yield to its deadly spell.
Some rotenone projects have to be repeated every 10 years or so.
And what about the birds and reptiles that depend on these ecosystems?
Where we may see an impact is on species that rely fairly heavily on aquatic organisms for food. Mammals like mink or some birds that are fish-eating birds may see a diminishment of their food resources.
Monocultures don't exist in nature. Species rely on these essential interactions for survival. It's unknown if any of these pristine environments will ever fully recover.
We're not worried about all the organisms. We're only worried about one organism. In this case, up in Montana, it's trout. But trout only form part of the total system. And we can't operate and manage a stream system for one species. It's a total ecosystem, because if the ecosystem disappears, no trout are ever going to be.
What is the ultimate price of this lethal remedy? History is littered with man's foolish attempts to re-engineer nature. Good intentions that ultimately lead to disastrous consequences. Remember the mongoose and the snake. The list goes on and on.
Nature has always been the controller, always the one to decide which organism appears, which organism survives, which organism must become part of history. Man, on the other hand, thinks that he can do whatever he wants. And he can make the judgment that this organism should be, or should not be, or should be replaced by something else. Is that not arrogance? Arrogance at its zenith.
How many times will we have to repeat the same mistakes? How many lakes and streams will be poisoned? How many species will simply perish as collateral damage in the wake of these misguided experiments? All in the name of wildlife restoration. It's not just wrong. It's dead wrong. We can all make a difference. Your opinion matters.